before I bring up Dr. Brown Green, I'd just like to mention at the bottom of your program, there are details of Dr. Green's achievements and where she's gone to school, where she has lived, all of that good stuff. What I'd like to do is talk about Dr. Green, what is it, extemporaneously? I'm so appreciative to Dr. Brown Green and also to Mr. Green. I am privileged. I'm privileged to say that these are people that I know, these are people who are friends, and who are community people, who are examples of excellence. And I say that because they have children. Their children are teachers on some level or another. And it's a rarity because folks will say, oh, a mom and dad does that. I'm not doing that. But they have children, and the children have followed in their footsteps and achieved well. I must remind some of us who have not been here that many years ago, Mr. Green was a recipient of the Peace Award, a Peace Award from Ethical Culture because of his work in the community, and we appreciate him. But this light is going to be shined today on Dr. Brown Green. Would you please come up and present us with something wonderful? Thank you. I'm getting out of the way.
That's okay. Habari Gani, everyone.
Habari Gani.
Okay, so when I say Habari Gani, no matter what day it is, you say Ujima. Today is Ujima. Right, so you just say Ujima, right? So you say the day of Kwanzaa. So when I say Habari Gani, Ujima. Great, great. So usually in any cultural event, we always start with the pouring of libation. Thank you. And Dupree asked if Richard would pour libation. So we'll do it really quickly. And you've already given respect to ancestors. And so it's basically doing the same thing. And it doesn't have to be family members. It doesn't have to be, or as we know, like intimate family members. It could be those who have made a difference in our lives, who you've never ever met. So Richard, can you just pour libation? And we're going to use a plant. Usually it's done into earth. And so we're going to use the plant. And do you need a mic?
Thank you. Peace and love, Ujima. Every time we get to a point in time, we may think of libation of being something that's just for a religious or a spiritual. It's spiritual, but the thing about libation, it's the things that are most sacred to us. And the most sacred thing, I think, to all of us is water. Water makes us up. I think they say over 90-some% of our bodies are made up of water. So we do libation as a celebration of what we're made up of. And we do it to the 4 directions. We start by libations, and what I ask you to do at the end, I'll ask you to call out ancestors. Think about an ancestors that you may want to call out. But we pour libations to the east. And what comes from the east, of course, our sunrise from the east, our ship sailed from the east. We have tremendous connections, all of us here, to that east. So we pour libations to just celebrate that part of the world or the globe that's so important to us. Then we turn and we do it to the west. And sometimes we say, well, the sun leaves us and go west. But actually, some will say that's where the sun rests. Every day the sun goes to the west and rests. So we pour libations to the rest of the sun. And more important, how much that sun means to us. Then we look at the north. And we pour libations to the north. And from whence cometh many of our ancestors came out of the north, or we are here living in the north, and it's so important to celebrate us here. Lastly, libations poured to the south. And what I'd ask you to do as we pour libations to the south is to think about some great part of your life, known or unknown, someone, and call out their names to celebrate their particular contributions to us today. This art, this great society here, that's all part of that part. So let's call libations to the south. And I always start by calling out my mother, Laura Bell, my father, Henry, and you call out a name, and we'll pour libations to that individual. Ashe, and Ashe means amen, we celebrate. Yes.
And so it is.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Dorothy Brown.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Betty Shabazz.
Ashe. 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 And I then say to all those grandcestors or ancestors who have touched our lives, who have made us who we are today, and we're here today to celebrate. And we just thank you all for being part of this great, great gathering. And from here, you don't have to pour libations at Kwanzaa. You could pour it every day. Just a little part of your day, just pour the libations and call out that great mother or father or neighbor or friend who have made a difference in our lives. Thank you. Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. So I'm going to use notes to start off with because I want to talk about the parts of the I keep saying menorah. The Kanara, right. So that's how community we are, right? For me to say Kanara, right, or menorah. But I do want to talk about each piece of it, so I'm going to use the notes, and then I'll talk about my quilts and me as an artist and us as artists, okay? So Kwanzaa was founded by Dr. Myrah Karenga in 1966, following the Watts riots in California, and it aimed to unite African Americans and support the pride that many had in their community. The name Kwanzaa is derived from the Swahili words Matunda ya Kwanza, meaning first fruits. And Kwanzaa was spelled Kwanza in Swahili, but it's said that Dr. Karenga added an A to the end to give us 7 days or 7 moments. And I thought about that. And I thought about him even using Swahili. Like, why didn't he use any other languages? Well, Swahili is a traveler's language. It's for those that are traveling around the continent, around the world, around, those that came here from other places. So it's a traveler's language. And the first of its 7 days, because it's 7 days, 7 candles, begins on December 26th. So we have 3 candles lit right now because we've started with the one in the center, the black one, which at one point symbolized people, and then the red, the blood that was shed, and the green for the land. And now Kwanzaa is celebrated by everybody around the world. It's not a religious holiday. It is definitely a symbol of community. And so the first day, of course, is Umoja, or unity. And then Kujijakalia. You all have your cards, okay? So pull out the first one is what? Umoja, right? Then the second one is Kujijakalia. Very good. The third one is today, Ujima, right? And you can see what the meaning is. The fourth one? Ujama. The fifth one? Nia, right? The sixth one? Kuumba, one of my favorites. And the last one? Imani, right? That pulls everything together, which is faith, right? So when we look at these principles, they're called principles. When we look at them, it's to help us get through the full year. Like it's a reminder. We know all of these things. We may not call it Nia, Kujijakalia, Ujama, Unity, Umoja, but we know them. We were raised on them, no matter what culture we came from. Okay? Then you see that this is called a kanara. I was going to say menorah. This is called a kanara, which is the candle holder. The 7 candles are called Mishuma Saba, and there are 3 red, 3 green, and 1 black one. And when you light them, you light the black one first, and then you light a red one closest to the black, the green one on the other side, and you keep doing this until we get to the end, okay? The kanara sits on a mat, always sits on a foundation, right? And when you see the corn represents children, right? Those kernels of corn. And the children, in one of the songs that you all performed, I heard you talk about the children being the next generations. It's like rebirth, right? And so that's what the corn reminds us of. And then the unity cup was something that before these times, we used to be able to pass it around and drink from the same cup. But yes, that's the unity cup. And that would have some sort of water, libation of some sort in it, okay? And then at the end of the 7 days, on the 7th day, which is New Year's Day, right, January 1st, we would give gifts. And the gifts wouldn't be where we'd go to Target or we'd go to any of my favorites, one of my favorites, Bloomingdale's. We wouldn't go there. We would make gifts to give. They would be handmade gifts that became heirlooms over time, right? And books, because it was about getting to know who you were. So today is Ujima. And Ujima is collective work and responsibility. And I just want to talk about how it connects to me in my life. But before I start, I want to say I'm so grateful for everyone who has joined us over the virtual world. And I'm so grateful that we've gotten to this point in life where we can connect with people. My granddaughter is on, who is in Liberia right now. She said, "Mommy's out, but I'll watch." And then I have friends that are in Philly and Queens, Eternity, and my grandson who's somewhere in Brooklyn. He's on. I could see his mom. And all of the folks that have visited us, I'm very, very grateful. And I'm sure we are all grateful for them to be present and taking the time. When you create art, and I'm an art historian. I teach art history, and I teach all of the cultures. I teach from the Paleolithic period to the present, which is about 14 art cultures, all the way from Asia to, all of the Asias, India, China, Africa, which it will include so-called sub-Saharan Africa and Egypt, the Greeks. I teach all of that. And what I've found over the years and what has sustained my students, and I'm sure you can speak for that because Dupree teaches art history, is that there's a common thread that binds through all of them, and knowing who you are. So Ujima is about community building. It's about how do we contribute to this community to make it better for all of us, right? How do we create art? For me, how do I create art to contribute? So I'm sure when some of you walked in, you may have seen 2 quilts on the wall. Well, fabric maybe, or something different about that wall, right? So those are 2 of my quilts. And one is a tribute to Thelonious Monk, and I wanted to bring that one because of the musicians that were here. And I know Barry, he came and said something, and you knew there was something about it, right? That you connected with. So I wanted that to connect with the music. And then I started working on a series of guardians. And this one's called Joy. And I've created this, I'm working on a book right now. It's a coming of age book, which talks about these young she mothers, right? Who come here, or who are here, which all of us have them in us, who are here, whose shoulders we stand on, to help us through whatever it is that we need to get through, right? To go through, to get through. And so that's Joy. And she always comes in the form of a child. And she reminds us of being happy, being joy-filled, and passing that on to those who we come in contact with. So the first thing I wanted to share is, how many of you are artists in the room? Raise your hand. Everybody is an artist, right? In order to be great at what you do in life, no matter what you do, whether you're a scientist, whether you're a computer analyst, no matter what it is that you do, you have to be creative in order to be great at it, right? The best scientists are creative scientists. The best artists are the ones that are most creative. So it's the same, that's the common thread, right? My background is in interdisciplinary studies, so I'm able to connect whatever it is that anyone does. I coach anyone to bring out whatever the creativeness is within them. And so, because the way of the world is by bringing every aspect of life together as one, so that we can understand it. When I was going to college, I did not love art history. I did not like it at all. But I loved it, but I didn't know that I loved it until I realized that the reason why I didn't love it I went to one of the top colleges for my undergrad experience. And it was because I didn't see me in it. The way that the teacher was teaching me was there was not there. I didn't see myself in it. Yes, when I got to. I think the only area that I loved was when he talked about Picasso, and a lot of folks say, well, Picasso took from African people, and but I'm one of those. One of my friends who's online, Sana, who's a phenomenal artist and writer as well. We talk about going down the rabbit hole to do research, and when I started working on my dissertation, he had to be in it, and I found that his mom was a Moor, which made her African, and if she gave birth to him, what does that mean? He was African too, right? So we had the right to, create or to redo the art through Cubism, or he had the right to have a number of African pieces of sculpture in his apartment, which he did, because he was trying to find his whole self, right? So what I would charge you to do, as we say in the church, what I would charge you to do is to create art with a purpose, whatever it is that you do. My sister, Kim, the poetry that she writes is with a purpose. I mean, just her even being able to pull out that particular piece on the quilt, that this wonderful woman, I was sitting there thinking about, each and every line that she spoke, and just seeing it in action, right? So create art with a purpose, not only for yourself, but for other people. So when I create, my work is not created for just me. I don't just create for me. I create for others as well. I was telling my husband the other day that I was remembering when I'm a self-taught quilter, and I remember going to the Brooklyn Guild for just to see what it was about. One of my friends took me and my daughters. They weren't interested in it. They thought it was a cult, but I loved it, and I would go there. I joined, and I would go, and I would sit. They always had show and tell. I would never show anything. And then one day I met an elder who's an ancestor now, and she said, showing your work is not just for you, right? It's not, like, who cares? Like, it's not just for you, it's for other people to be inspired by what it is that you do, and you be inspired by what they get from it or how they feel when you show the work. And that's what it is for me. There's in the Yoruba culture, I can't remember the word, but there's a word when you finish something, when you finish a piece of art, it's almost like this invisible stamp goes on it. Like, you know how you stamp a piece of postage, or you put a seal on something and it goes to the next place. It's the same thing when we create a piece of art. After we do that, it no longer belongs to us, right? It belongs to the world. It belongs to everyone. So that's the first thing. The second thing is collaborate. Collaboration is so valuable. When Dupree was working, when she knew that this program was going to happen, she went down the rabbit hole and started doing research. Who would have known that Teddy Pendergrass wrote a Kwanzaa song? My goodness, can you imagine? I've learned so much. That I'm blown away with. I mean, and when she mentioned, did you know Teddy? No, I did not. I would not have even thought of it. But imagine if he was even more comfortable in sharing that, You know, he made sure he put it somewhere so people could find it. But how many people know that went to his concerts? Like, no, like there's so many people that wouldn't. So collaborate. You can work with your friends and your family. You can come and do a workshop at the Ethical Society. I'm sure they would welcome you with open arms. So that's what Ujima is also about. Share your skills and knowledge. Share them. You know, even as an artist, and even sharing things, it doesn't mean that there shouldn't be an exchange. You know, people getting paid for what they do, because I believe that folks should. This is the only country, I believe, in the world, the main country that doesn't support their artists. We have to work a day job in order to be an artist. And like in other places, artists would be put up in a home, they would be fed, you know. I mean, even when, what's his name? Da Vinci painted, was he the one that painted the Sistine Chapel? He was commissioned. He was commissioned by the Medici, or the Pope, and then the Medicis were commissioning artists. They didn't want them to have a day job besides what they wanted them to do. Those things would have never been done. But here, we have to work a day. We have to work a day job. We have to stay up. My husband, I thank God I married him, because I can get up and I could put on my sewing machine, and he can either put the covers over his head while the sound is happening. So share your skills and knowledge. Healing comes through all of that as well. Healing, and that also helps to build the community. And then use art to respond to challenges. Art can address losses. It can address justice, change. It can honor lives. It can support awareness or bring comfort during hard times. And that's about solving issues together. We can, you know, which is central to Ujima as well. And then finally, create with care and respect. Be mindful of how cultures, stories, and people are represented. Okay, Ujima means taking responsibility for the impact your art has on others. So when we create art, for me, when I create something, there's a show at Kenkeleba House in Manhattan right now that I have a number of quilts. It's going to close on the 31st, I think, of this month. And anyone that I tell that walks into that show, there's 4 of us, 4 women, and I am in one of the galleries in the front. And I tell people when they walk into the gallery, it's going to feel like you're being hugged. And that's what I chose to do with my work. And that's what I try to do with the work that I do. And when so we need to take responsibility on building collectively. It's not just about, it's not just about me. When I work, how is it going to affect other people? And the same with anything that you do, whether it's poetry, whether it's building something. Those block prints in the back that I saw, which is so gorgeous. I love linoleum because I don't know what kind of block printing it is. But the detail is just so magnificent, but it's also soothing. It looks like whoever did them, they were in meditation at the time while they were working. And I thought that that was just so magnificent. And so Ujima is about building collectively. It's about not being alone. And when the sisters talked about the community, that's what it's about. It's about community. And how do we build community? Do we have to take a certain amount of responsibility for us to contribute? Like, you know, how do we reach out? Maybe we're not, like, I'm a shy person, so I'm not normally going to reach out to someone, but I know sometimes I have to do that. So I may have to take that extra step, or I may have to, if there's something going on, just like folks coming, or, you know, I was able to give out the cards and have, you know, my family and friends join in on Zoom, even though they may not be in this country or not in this state. But how do we do that? You know, how do we do that? How do we take some responsibility for that so that we're not sitting alone in our own silo? So I want to thank you again for being here. And if anyone has any questions, I am more than willing to answer a few if we have time. Do we? So thank you.